The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. It's a game that will always be near and dear to my heart. The past few months, I've had the joy of finding creators that shared that same passion for the game, and it reignited something in me to pick it back up again and try it on PC. This is something I never did before, as my beginnings with the game came way back when it first came out on the consoles. I realized I had never did a bow-only build in Oblivion. Mainly because it's not the best, damage can be lackluster and without a huge time sink, and getting to master is difficult. But I thought, could you beat the main story using only a bow? Could you beat it leveling up as normal and on the hardest difficulty? Of course you can. You can also just not embark on this journey, and I recommend that you don't. I started as all humble Oblivion beginnings do, with character creation. For the build, I knew Wood Elves, although meek, would give me a good head start in the stats that I wanted. Sam would be the name for the unfortunate soul, who was about to die about 300 times. My favorite class in the cell across from me decides to throw insults at me as I wait for Dr. Lloyd from Steam Boy to enter my cell with his guards. He tells me about seeing me in his dreams. He tells me about how today is the day he dies. And this is the first time I've met the man. Try having that conversation with someone you don't know at Starbucks. A secret passage opens, and it's my lucky day. Creeping a few steps in the newly open world, and immediately, Charles Xavier's guards are ambushed by Kel'Thuz's from the Power Rangers, and we lose a lead guard. It's a fresh reminder to me that this difficulty is going to suck. After, I get left to die as rats, vicious enough to chew through a loose stone wall, come at me, and now the real game begins. My immediate thought was to use the Beast Tongue ability. I can use it once per day, and I can use it on one rat to buy me some time. But after thinking it through and thinking about it, I thought this was cheating in some regard. So, I instead decided to retry, re-equip, and just use height to my advantage. After defeating Master Splinter, I had my thought for this challenge. At the time, I was just playing. Using a bow only. Now, due to the nature and the sheer amount of damage I would need to output, I would allow myself some help. Enchantments on bows, arrows, or developing and using poisons on the arrows, and using restoration magic on myself only when waiting just wasn't an option. I know it's not a purist build or challenge, but I play 2 times a week for about 4 to 6 hours, and I wanted this video to be completed in my lifetime. I'm sorry, I know I'm not Legolas. Feel free to tell me about it in the comment section down below. One by one, I led every rat and zombie down the path for me to kill them, until a goblin absolutely jump scared the skooma out of me. Using a door as a barrier to heal and go back in the fight, I eventually got him. After rolling logs down on the two below, relax, no one told them to stand there, I made my way to the open area. One by one, I tried to lure them to their own deaths by running them into the traps. And it worked. You know what doesn't work? Catching the elements like I'm Avatar to my face. Now, after doing everything I just said all over again, because I didn't save, I was ready to give it another shot. This time equipped with a damage health potion. This is where I learned this might just be one of the missing pieces to complete this puzzle. After, I go meet up with the Star Trek crew and watch as they dispatch any Mythic Dawn assassins that continue to attack. After, the Emperor asked me about my sign. In thinking long term, I choose the Thief, due to the 10-point bonus in the 3 stats that I'm going to need. Agility increases the marksman damage, speed for when I need to run away, and the luck factor for the highest possible damage output. After a few more skirmishes, I'm told to guard the Emperor with my life. I'm a nobody, who does not train every day, who just got out of jail, and I am to protect the highest man in the land. Well, the Emperor gives me an amulet to take to his hidden son and absolutely gets his back blown out. Barius doesn't blame me, which is cool, and later asks me something that I skip. I don't know, I pick the stats that help me the most, and I name it Henry to be cheeky, and I move on. From leaving Barius to heading outside of the sewer gate takes me about 7 real-life minutes. I get through with 0 deaths, but if you've played the game before, you realize just how long that is. I travel to the Imperial City to get reacquainted with the shops, but soon after, crash. I reload and crash again. This is becoming a theme. So, I reload, head straight to Joffrey, blow through his dialogue, that in short, he takes the amulet from us and tells us to head to Kvatch because that's where Martin is. Upon arrival, we crash again. We keep crashing until I get to Salvian Mattius. He's standing right outside Kvatch and an Oblivion gate. I tell him I'll help him get the gate closed, and it's kind of the only way to get to Martin, and I let his guards dispatch all the people coming out of the gate. I run to the gate, I see someone from afar fighting a guard, and I get my first real taste of action since the sewers, and we find out very quickly we do no damage. After talking to Lenny, I tell him I really need his help, but he proves not so very useful as he quickly runs into the lava. I push on, but realizing I need more arrows, I double back to the Imperial City to re-up and fix my gear. I only had a few coins left and decided to hit the Gilded Carafe to look for poisons or to try to make some myself. After spending what I had left, I was able to make a couple, but because I'm not looking to be a noble, I waited until the shop closed to get my hands on everything she had on display. Seeing that the door was being watched, I decided not to go in and headed straight back to Kvatch. I made my way through the Scamp army and finally to the tower. After a lucky stumble, the Daedra fell to his death, and I was able to talk to the caged man who gives me a key to proceed. After getting low on arrows, I realize healing and running to the sigil stone that holds this gate in place may just be my only option. I die. And die. And die. But eventually, I make it and learn to save at every single possible place I can. It still isn't easy, but through sheer will, I grab the sigil stone. Normally, you might make a save and reload until the stone pits out something you really wanted, but I was just ready to be out of the gate. I tell Sal I'm ready, and we head to find Martin. Upon arrival, I let Sal do absolutely everything I can. I try to hide while I take shots at everything, and this works until Homeboy pulls up from the free throw line and dunks on me. So we repeat, and this time being more mindful. One by one, Sal defeats them, and we make our way into the chapel to find Martin. We tell Martin to walk his noble self down to the campfire with the others, and we head into the city to find the Count. This part took me about 40 minutes, 20 or so deaths, leading everything I can to Sal, watching him get knocked down, get back up, finish the job for every single one. I grab the Legion from the Chapel of Akatosh, and they do help, but one by one they fall until it's just Sal and myself again. I finally find the Count. I take some time to level up and return to Sal and get the only piece of equipment that I wear for the rest of the challenge and this video. I return to Joffrey to find the Mythic Dawn attacking everyone and learn they've stolen the Amulet of Kings. Shocker. I take a peep at the sigil stone from earlier and see it has a damage fatigue on strike for the bow. While not too helpful, it's better than nothing and better than having extra fatigue since the bow doesn't really drain any. We make our voyage to deliver Martin to the Cloud Ruler Temple to be under the protection of the secret Emperor bodyguard faction, the Blades. Fast forward through a couple dialogues, and I'm given the quest to meet up with Barius back in the Imperial City. Barius thinks he's being followed and asks me to tell the person that's following him. In doing so, we immediately jump him, and upon searching his body, we find the first edition of the Mythic Dawn commentaries. We're told up to hit Tarmina up in the Arcane University, and she more or less says she needs all the books in the end, and so far we've only got 1 or 2, needing 3 and 4. But we do get told that Phineas might have a copy of Volume 3 at the first edition in the Imperial City. I don't have enough to buy it off of him, so I have to wait for the said buyer to arrive and then try to pick it up from him. Upon telling Gwyneth the cult the Mythic Dawn killed the Emperor, he hands over Volume 3 and tells me we can only get Volume 4 from a member, and tell me he had a meeting set up about it. I tell Barius and he insists we go to this meeting, but we have to trek into the sewers to get there. Now, normal difficulty, this is a breeze. Maxed slider difficulty, this is a nightmare. I try to let Barius take the lead on everything during the journey. We eventually make our way to the meeting, and I decide to be the one to provide Overwatch as it just makes sense with a bow. I did forget Barius is an essential and can die here, and this made things not easy. After watching him get absolutely whacked on, I try to catch a Radiant Bolt to my face, we reload and have to retry again. This time, I pull one away from the main battle and perform the ring around the rosy trick. 20 minutes later, I go back and check on Barius to find not only did he not fare well, he falls dead in my arms. So I take his gold and start the back and forth strat all over again. This time there is 2 of them. I catch one of Zeus's bolts to the face, and upon reloading, I realize I'm underleveled, under-equipped, and I need some help if I'm going to push through this. So I leave the sewers. I started a life of crime looking for some items and gold, and I had the idea to join the Dark Brotherhood, as you can complete some of the quests without actually having to get in combat with anyone. But then I realized that means I have to kill someone, and I found out very quickly I don't have the power to do that. I eventually think about the Thieves Guild. It can give me some rewards, it improves my sneak, which becomes a cornerstone on how I'm able to beat this challenge in the end, and I can do it without killing. I won't go in too deep in this video on this quest line, but overall, only the last quest was really the hard one due to the amount of confrontations. In short, stealing the diary, easy. Getting the tax records, simple. Stealing the bus from Cheydinhal, it was fun. I get Rex reassigned, and I stop there on the Thieves Guild for now. I run into Kuradon Grodragel and start the quest Caught in the Hunt, because I want money and because I hate myself. I die a few times, but end up being a marksman had its advantages, and one by one they fell to my arrows. I grab the key, return to Usain Lock, and complete the quest. I then head to the Imperial City to get my gear back to 100% and go to bed. The next day I load up and hit the Guild of Carif in the Imperial City to start making some poison potions. Still not finding anything for Paralyzed yet, but with a level or two under my belt, a better bow, and better arrows, I head back into the sewers to finish the main quest line. With Sneak, I'm one-shotting the rats and two-shotting the crabs, and this isn't great, but it's an improvement from before, and I cheese goblins and make my way back to the meeting. I still catch those blue eels to the back, but I reload and retry again. I once again die, but progress is now being made. I do it again, Baria still dies, but this time I survive. I push through, and the bow breaks while fighting a goblin. Remembering a previous one I had killed, I double back to grab the steel bow, as it's kind of my only hope. Finish off the goblins and rats, make it to the surface again, and get back to Tarmina. I turn in the quest, and she tells me to check back in with her in a day or so. So, I figure I have time to head to Bruma and finish out the Thieves Guild questline. This one sucked, but an hour and 34 minutes later, with 23 deaths, I got the arrow, made my way back to the Grey Fox to turn in the quest. I head to Shaden Hall to buy a bed and hit level 12. Because if I'm not close to death, I'm not living.
Capital!
I press on, I get the boots of Spring Hill Jack for the Grey Fox, pulling those guys out one by one and letting the guards defeat them. I get my hands on two new bows, the Voltage and Cold. I get that turned in, and then I hit the hardest quest in the whole challenge. The entire video. Part of the quest to returning to the Grey Fox with the Elder Scroll took me 2.5 hours and 35 deaths. Finally get the Grey Fox's cow. But now having the cow, I forget guards attack on sight. But now we have a home. We have better sneak stats and some go to play with, and it also helps having a fence. So, I stop playing and recording for the night, and I hit the game next week. Next week, I load up the game, we're level 15, and I start the day by grabbing some more stuff at the Guild of Carif. I decide to just walk to the statue for the Mythic Dawn map and head to the cave. We escape a nasty run with a bobcat on the way there, and I make my way inside Lake Arias' caverns. This is where the Mythic Dawn have been hiding out at. I try to make a save here and continue to try to pickpocket my things from Harrow one by one until I have just about everything I need. After being summoned to do a sacrifice, I thought this might be where I have to break the challenge. I hadn't given it any thought because I know I just can't kill all these Agents of Death. But I eventually decide against it and try to use Oblivion's busted AI against itself while I sneak. I eventually lure Harrow away, and being able to sneak attack, one by one I kill every agent. I still die a lot, and eventually I just have to run through it all. I make it outside and immediately get mauled down by a big cat that's been waiting for me. I didn't save. So, I do it again. I jump in the pond this time and get to a place to fast travel back to Cloud Ruler Temple. Martin tells me some gabagoo, and Joffrey tells me something about spies at the base of a mountain. I find a nice rock, rain death upon them. I take their keys, find their weird basement, some notes they were talking about the crazy parties they have down there, and return to Joffrey to give him some good news. So far the challenge hasn't been too hard as long as I have enough arrows, enough space or rocks to cheese and to put distance between myself and the attacker. But it is time consuming. Martin tells me he needs an artifact, and I just follow with the basic Azura's quest. It's not the easiest, but it is rewarding. I head back to my hideout in Waterfront to grab some gear, head back to mix up the cafe to mix up that good, and finally obtain Journeyman and Alchemy. Now that I have some poisons, I can use them to complete Azura's quest. For those who don't know, she wants me to enter into a small cramped cave to kill her followers who contracted the vamp disease a long time ago. Having a sneak at this level, I can finally fire a shot and they not detect me. It starts to kick in that this may be the way, and one by one the vampires die, all in the cave. I do lead one outside thinking sun damage would help, but instead I got lucky enough for a Daedroth to kill them, and then I took them out. Entering back in and finishing the job, I get delighted with flame arrows and a flaming bow. I take their gear with the Grey Fox mask to my fence to offload some weight, and then head back in to turn in the quest, and get the artifact from Azura. I head back to Cloud Ruler Temple to see that Martin is throwing books out of anger, and I finally give him the artifact. I talk to Joffrey, and he tells me about the Oblivion Gate that's opened right outside of Bruma, and to help the Captain Bird. I head back to the Imperial City to re-up the gear, and this is where I'm going to get yelled at. See, I was told, and I tried myself with no success, that duping in the Game of the Year edition was patched. And with this being my first time playing it on PC, I thought nothing of it and moved on. This is week 4. This is week 4 of me doing this challenge. And I've discovered that I can. Now, I want to say full stop, I believe you can beat the game without abusing this or using duping in general. But for the sake of getting this video out before December, I used it to dupe. I used it to do potions, arrows, and an amulet for some money, which I never really used, so I don't know why I did that. Shame me down in the comments below. Now with arrows and some damage health potions, which I want to do, I head into the gate with the guard. Of course, I try to let Bird do all of this on his own, and I try to help where I can. Bird gets his smash on, I still take some fireballs to the face, and I die countless of times. I keep letting Bird take the assault as I try to sneak and help where I can until we get to the top of the sigil. I take the sigil, Bird looks like a complete badass walking out with it blowing up behind him, and we put this one in the books. I go around and do the same thing to every other city asking for help, and nothing really to note other than I did actually get to save Farwill, and in our travels, I picked up a chameleon ring for 30% that becomes the second piece of the puzzle, and then a potion of paralyze for 7 seconds. Oh yes, Batman. There's no rules against the paralyze, Batman. You know what I'm going to do to that. Anyways, after Shay Shay is saved, I head to Martin to see what he needs, and he tells me he needs the blood of Tiber Septim from a piece of old armor in an old, smelly place. I travel by foot and get to watch a bear absolutely show a Daedra what is up in the forest of Tamriel. After watching Fast Animals and Slow Daedra, I make my way into Saint Tutor, and it was honestly really easy. Being in sneak or in a place of height where they couldn't reach me, I was able to take out all the members of the Undead Blades with ease. It just took a lot of time. I was also able to avoid any conflicts with the Undead. After the Spectral Blades reunited, they lifted the spell that guarded the armor, I pick it up, I full send to Martin, and he tells me we need a Great Welkin Stone. I bunk down to hit level 20 and realize that speed and agility are maxed out. So I start traveling to Misgrain to get the Whelkstone. I run into Thorley, who tells me that he's been getting ravaged by bears nearby, and that he would reward me for taking some down and bringing him the pelts as proof to kickstart the quest Bear Season. Unfortunately, I was being chased by bears at the time, and they got to him first. So I killed the bears, watched them eat some nearby bandits, and then after looting everything, headed straight on to Mimi. By this point, we're about 77 in sneak and 70 in marksman, with loads of damage health potions and invisibility potions to help us sneak past foes we don't want to tangle with. Outside of that, the sneak is so high coupled with the 30% chameleon that I'm able to walk just right past the King Lich and sneak my way back outside to fast travel. I bring the artifact back to Martin and catch the end of a conversation where Joffrey seems reluctant but submissive in getting the blades to help with something that Martin has just suggested. We learned that it's opening a Great Oblivion gate or letting the Mythic Dawn do it, right outside of town. After speaking with a few more counts and countesses, I ravine with Martin with the very small band of guards each city sends me to help with this assault, and if you're telling yourself this is about to suck, it's because you're right. I try to hit and paralyze everything I can to protect Martin. Forgetting I can get to the Great Gate as soon as it opens, the first time I stick around too long and die alongside Martin. The second time, my hands are touching the Great Gate. I'm about to go in, Martin dies and I have to reload. The third time I create more paralyzed potions, I resave and get absolutely blasted with lightning. It's been a big theme in this run. Fourth try, get to the Great Gate. As soon as I see the shadow of it opening, I full sprint into it and pray Martin can handle anything on the outside while I'm in here. This isn't the normal gates. It has a countdown and has a lot of crossovers and gates and locked and hidden behind gears and switches, but I don't have time for that. This is week 8 or 9 I've been playing this game. I don't think Martin can survive, so I hit a save with 13 minutes left right under the siege gate and begin to cheese my way up the bridge and eventually into the towers, making my way up to the top, but getting sliced down before I can do anything. I reload and then get absolutely slapped down again. I reload again and find a Dremora standing right in front of me as soon as I load in, so I double back outside and get my back blown out. I reload again, back blown out again. So I reload, say screw it, cheese myself around the gate and to the other side. I show the guard my BBL to drop him to his knees, then I move into the club. I run right into the VIP lounge so fast I forgot about the 800 million ton butcher blades lined up and get absolutely Walmart deli thin sliced. So I reload, sneak past the blades and the guards, and finally make my way to the top. I find a ring of feather, which is nice, grab the sigil stone, and pray Martin doesn't die as soon as I come out of the gate. I loot the corpses out of respect for the nearby fallen people, pay homage to the bird and Joffrey as they did not make it. I head straight to the Imperial City to get gear back to normal. Forgot I had the Grey Fox mask on and have to bounce, but the game crashes. I reload, this time going back without the cowl on, repair gear, dump the trash loot off, and make my way to Cloudrily Temple to start the final parts of the final mission. I tell Martin I'm ready to go to a place where Terrence Stamp will talk to me at 99 volume, and he begins to open the portal. Side note, this has to be one of the best animations in the game. This place is crawling with things that want to kill me, so I try to run away from most things, but I do get pinned up by a Spidey, and I have to take her down. After being about 30 arrows deep, an unsung hero out of nowhere comes to my rescue and helps me finish off the spider. While picking up Yum Yum's Cathuet approach Cathuet? I actually never Big Cat approaches me and tells me about how there is only one way outside of the garden, and it's more or less through him. He gives me the choice to do him a favor or to fight him, and I ain't no Breton, so I fight him. I did not expect the nearby lady to join in and help the beatdown, and she also helped me take out the Daedroth as well. I grab the bands of the Chosen and head into the Forbidden Grotto while Terrence is talking to me on the inside of my ears. I work my way through the Daedra and the Mythic Dawn followers until I meet Eldamil. Eldamil seemed ashamed of his choices and wanted to try to make things right. He offers to help me through the Forbidden Grotto by removing the bands we had to put on to get in here. In exchange, he just wants to help us kill Mankar. Seems like a win-win to me, so I tell him to come along. He drop scares me into a lava pit, tells me he will buy me some time, says not to worry due to his immortality, and I take the Clanfer out and the Daedra out that actually end up killing him and press on. After the bloodbath, I take a rest on the bloody slab because it's been a bit and hitting level 21 seems like a benchmark. I send this guy down to meet his maker and eventually run back into Eldamil. He takes the bands off as promised, and all he wants in return is to help us kill Mankar. I could use a servant with immortality, so for this run I agree. He comes in handy, but he did drop in front of the fine Spider Girl once, and I paid for it in lightning strikes. I will never forgive him. I reload, try to stay sneakier, and one by one we all take him out. We finally make it outside, and now it's just a walk to Mankar to close all this stuff up. We meet his arrogant kids outside, and this is the part where I started to get nervous. We're in week 11, by the way. There is nowhere to hide in this battle, and so for the first couple of tries, it doesn't end well as Eldamil dies, and then I get the full attention of everybody. I reload the save, trying to sneak one of the kids before Mankar starts to give a speech, and I catch more lightning to the face. Reload again, I try again, and this time we get him and his elemental ring. I begin wailing on his daughter while he gives a speech, real deadbeat this guy, and slay her right before him. We then turn our attention to him, but the sun comes back to life and ruins our plans. So now I have a thought. This time, I'll reload the save I had outside and decide to kill the kids outside of the area before they go and help see Papa. Eldamil lays a smack down on the last one and we head inside. No kids are here. Full health and ready to go, we waste absolutely no time, and by the time he stands to his feet, he already collapses back down and dies. I grab the amulet from the mayor of Gotham City, wish Eldamil the best, even though I never got to see him again due to his death. I bring Martin the amulet to fully make him the emperor, and he tells us to head to the Imperial Palace to meet with the High Chancellor Akato for guidance and to begin the final quest, Light the Dragonfires. While seeking an audience with the High Chancellor in the palace, we get told that the Imperial City is under siege with Oblivion gates opening all over, and we have to get Martin to the Temple of the One to light the Dragonfires. But we are immediately ambushed by an assault. Palace guards lay at my feet, and upon entering back outside, we see the Oblivion soldiers are running right at us. A battle ensues, Martin somehow creeps through all of this, and so I eventually sneak past as well to meet up with him. I find Mehrunes Dagon is already in the world and is stomping on our Imperial watch. I get touched as well, and reloading, I find Martin. This time he comes to my aid. He meets me at the temple and tells me he has an idea and to get him to the temple. He knows a way to close the gates and to defeat Mehrunes Dagon. We enter the temple, I talk to Martin, and the final dialogue begins. Shattering the Amulet of Kings, Martin uses the power of Akatosh to turn into a Skyrim thing and defeat Mehrunes Dagon. After the battle, Martin catches his breath, poses in a form, steals himself for one ultimate statue. The end cutscene plays, and after a long, long challenge, I can rest just as Martin does.
With the dragon's blood and the Amulet of Kings, we have sealed the gates of Oblivion forever.